Welcome to another episode of Scale Up Real Estate. Today we have our guest Isaiah. I'm really excited on what he got to share on his journey to become a real estate investor and also the biggest obstacle he had to overcome on the journey. My friend, how are you today?
Doing well, man. Blessed, better than I deserve, as the good people always say. But yeah, happy to be here. Thanks for having me out today.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, like Isaiah, how did you actually get started in real estate?
Yeah, so like my first deal I did was in like 2017. So it was actually like a pre-con. And what happened? I think I was still working at the pool at this time. So I was a lifeguard growing up, lifeguard swim instructor. So I was still working at the pool. I saw
Really?
yeah, oh
Before
yeah.
getting a lifeguard as well.
Oh no way, really, man! I'm
Yeah.
telling you, I know so many good people who came out of that industry when they're young, because like, well, just on that sidetrack, like I feel like that's a really good industry for like younger people to get into
Yeah.
because everyone else is making minimum wage, and then you are like under 16 and you're making like a decent salary. Obviously, you're not working full time, but being able to teach swimming, aquatics, like I actually ended up starting a first aid company out of that. Like it was a really good experience to me, so I loved
Okay.
it. So anyway, did that. I saw an ad in the paper for these condos going up, and it said like only 5% down payment. And back like then, the condo was only two something, like low twos. I did the math, and I'm like, well, if I make this much each month, I can put this much aside, and I'm like, yeah, I can make this work on my salary because there was a deposit structure. You only have to come up with like $2,000 down on the day, and then you could have the deposit structure over 3 years. I was like, oh, I could do this, no problem. So I ended up doing that. Told my mom, I was like, yo, we're going to buy a condo on Saturday. She took me down. They stack of paperwork like this big, like thicker than my face. But anyway, got it all signed up, and yeah, that was the first deal we got into. Knew absolutely nothing. I had no plans for it. I didn't know about renting it. Didn't know about any refinancing assignments. I didn't know anything, but it gave me that first step in the water and really opened my eyes into the real estate game and kind of propelled me to where I am today.
Awesome. Like, how old were you like back then? You were saying like 16? No, no, you were
No,
older
no,
than.
what I was 2017. I was just back from school, so I was like 21, 22.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought like I can maybe like put a title down, real estate investor starting doing real estate investing with 16, but yeah, I
Yeah.
guess it's
No, no, not that young. I wish I was that young, but no, no. Probably like 22, 23. I have to do the math.
okay. Nice. And then what have you done like out of that one? Did it turn out to be a rental, a
Yeah,
flip,
so
or what
I
happened to that?
actually I actually signed it like because like so this is why I don't love pre-cons, and I learned a lot with it, but it kind of gave me the green light. So anyway, so I saw it go from like when I bought it for like two whatever. I saw it because it was like a phase, it was like three phases they were coming out, and I bought phase two. So
Hmm.
phase three, when they put phase three out, it was like 150 grand more than what I bought mine for. I was like, oh wow, that's equity built in right there. So I ended
Yeah.
up holding it, and I didn't sign it for another like 4 or 5 years because there was delays, there was COVID, like that project was just so bad. So I'm glad I got out of it, but it took me forever to get out of that one. But what I did do, I learned about some other options. I learned about the 5% down owner financing, or owner occupied financing. So what I did, I used that and I bought my first place in Oshawa. Nice and easy. It was a townhouse. It was already had a tenant in it. It was rented. It just cash flowed on paper. Didn't really know about cash flow or doing underwriting or deal analysis on that part. So that's the deal I started with as my first like official rental.
Mhm.
Learned how to do that. Got some stuff under my belt about like leasing tenants and all that good stuff. And then my first deal that I think made me a real estate investor was I bought a long distance property off market. I did a full BRRRR on it, private money, construction financing. I did the whole 9 yards on that, and that was a really successful BRRRR. I still own that one today, and that's probably like the second or third best deal I've done so far.
And that was like a second deal?
That would have been my technically my third deal because I did
Okay.
the pre-con, the the pre-con, then the easy rental, and then that was the first like big full-on project that I worked on.
Nice. I guess then you started with private equity very early on, right?
Yeah, so it was I guess my second deal because like I had money into the pre-con, and then I had money for the down payment on the first deal. And I was like, what the heck? I'm out of money already. Like, what do I do? So there was some equity that I had in the Oshawa house as it went up in value. So I had a home equity line of credit on that. I was able to get a little bit of funds that I was going to use for the renovations. But this is when the market was booming. Like you could just sneeze and you're making money in real estate back then. So I found a deal. It was really good. I actually got it from a colleague. She was moving in with her boyfriend, and I was just, exactly what all the podcasts and all the books say: tell everyone you're buying real estate. So I was telling everyone I was like this young, hungry new investor. I'm buying real estate. I'm buying real estate. She said, "Oh, I have this house in Windsor that there's a tenant in there. They're not paying, and me and my boyfriend want to move out to Whitby." I said, "I'll buy it." I didn't know what it was, how much it cost. I didn't know anything. So I made the drive to Windsor one weekend. I've only seen that property one time in person in my whole life. Saw it, negotiated with the tenants, got everything done, and now that I know what I know, I was like, wow, that is such a risk that I took, but I'm glad I did it. I got the tenant out after negotiation. I got the house at a steal of a price, and then we went up and we did the full BRRRR project.
Nice. So like is the BRRRR the strategy you do like most of the time, or what kind of deals have you done after that, and especially the situation like right now?
Yeah,
What
yeah,
kind
for
of
sure.
deals do you do,
So
and what kind of strategy do you like follow?
yeah, BRRRR deals for sure. So which
Okay.
stands for
Yeah.
renovate, rent, refinance, and repeat. Now back in the day, that was a lot easier to do than it is now, and I'm like, knock on wood, glad I got in when I did, because those deals were easier to happen. So I cut my teeth on like single family homes and duplexes, and that's what I did for most of it. And honestly, like, I still like those deals now. The latest deal, like rental, that I'm in right now is a bigger commercial property. That was like my
Oh,
first commercial deal that I'm in now, which is nice, but comes with its own set of headaches. But yeah, that's pretty much the strategy. You buy something undervalued, whether it's on market or off market. You find a way to increase the value either by strategic renovations, property management, tenant placement, whatever you got to do, increase the value, and then you go take that sucker back to the bank and get more money out for it. Now, it doesn't always mean they give you a cash out refinance.
mhm.
Sometimes you just get a second mortgage. Sometimes you get a home equity line of credit. Or sometimes you just have this big equity buffer that you can use to lend against if you're doing fix and flips or you're doing other business ventures, which is also not a bad thing as well. But like real estate, I think we make it so complicated. And I had a mentor tell me this. He's like, don't make it more complicated than this. Find a property, add value, cash out, do it again.
Find the property,
Yeah.
uh, cash, no, buy it, cash out, buy it again.
So close. Find the property,
Okay.
add value. Now, I think
Add
that's
value. Okay, I forgot
that's
that
my
one.
biggest skill set. I think the ways and creativity we can use to add value at a cost effective way, and then cash out. Because if there's no value created, you can still make money in real estate that way. But if you take that value add opportunity out, it just takes longer, harder to recycle your money, and you'll have different complications that happen with it. Me, myself, right now, like I'm still in the stage where like I'm an active real estate investor. I'm doing projects, I'm finding deals, I'm sourcing money, I'm continuing to grow. So that value add section is very important to where I am in my journey. And I encourage other people, if they're doing that, just find a way to add value, whether that's in time, sweat equity, money equity, creativity. That ability to add value will kind of propel your real estate investments where you want them to go.
Nice. Nice. So like for someone starting out, and what you've done are more like BRRRR and buy and hold, right? Have you done like flipping and
Yeah.
wholesale as well?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I've done probably a handful of wholesales. I've
Okay.
done a lot of co-wholesales, which honestly I think is the way to go. So I play in like Northern Ontario, which is like a market that I love, but it's not always easy to disposition or to sell your property. You might get a great deal, but selling that deal or wholesaling it is sometimes difficult. Now I have a full-time job, or not really
Oh, you still
full-time, but
have a full-time job right now,
it's
or
like
you're a
I go
full-time
I
investor right
go
now?
to work, but I don't. I'm a very bad
Ah,
employee. Like my focus
okay.
is on my real estate business, and like I'm very thankful to be in a position where I have a job. I can work as many hours as I want, which is really nice. Like I can turn up, like I can work 60 hours a week if I want, or I can turn it all the way down to work like 10 to 15 hours a week, and it doesn't really change my employment status, which is great for lending, great for overall like life security, and I'm a little bit more risk averse, so it's kind of nice for me.
I see. So like you're not planning to like quit your 9 to 5 anytime soon, right?
No,
Or you
I
do?
think I'm definitely getting to the spot now where the 9 to 5. Well, I'm a shift worker, like I'm an ambulance communication officer, like 911 operator.
Hmm.
So when that starts to impact like my real estate business, I'm more and more getting to the spot where I'm looking at more of my real estate activities as my full-time thing rather than this ambulance thing. So, some weeks I'm there 2 days a week, some days I'm there four, but usually I'm there between 2 and 4 days a week.
I guess then what has to happen for you to actually like quit your 9 to 5? Because I can tell like you've been thinking about it for a
Oh
while,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, so it's like it's the stability factor for me. And when I started, like we did some mentorship and everything, and everyone was like, buy, 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 buy. And I don't regret that because it helped me scale and grow my portfolio and I learned a lot of skills there. But what I wish I would have done is really focus on generating a cash flowing business, either outside of real estate or on top of real estate. Like I had some great guys that I was going through the game with. They started a wholesaling business or they started a really intentional property management business. Those businesses kick off cash. You can leave your job because they kick off cash for you to buy groceries, pay your rent, etc. But when you just buy real estate, you got a cash flow at a level so high that you need to be okay with not having any other income coming in because like that's going to be the way you live, you eat, and you use that income to service your property. So again, if you have a hot water tank go out, you have a flood, you have a tenant issue, you're still using that cash flow to pay for that real estate. And if you have no other income coming in, you can get yourself in a sticky situation and maybe you're forced to sell rather than you want to sell. So for me, if I did it again, I would still buy slowly, but I maybe would have bought one or two less deals, but focused on building a cash flowing business, which is kind of what I'm building right now.
Interesting. So like especially in the beginning phases, it's very important to have cash flow, right? And for that, flips and wholesale is actually, from your perspective, more or easier to do than traditional buy and hold, right? So like you might have a portfolio of 30, 40 properties as a buy and hold investor, and you don't really have cash.
Oh my gosh, I know some man that whole and
Yeah.
man, I used back in the day, like I'd go to the thing and like when I was new, I thought it was all about the number of doors. How many properties? How many doors do you have? Everyone would swinging their stuff around trying to do that. But I know guys with like 5 doors. So I subscribe to the small and mighty investors. So there's this guy, Chad Carson. I really connected with him. He's out in the States, but he's all about the small and mighty investors. So I'll paint a picture for you quickly. If you
Yeah.
had four properties all
Okay.
paid off. They're worth
Yes.
250 grand each, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you're a millionaire. Great. Congratulations. Each one of those properties rent for 2,500 bucks a month, right?
Uh-huh.
So that's the 1% rule. Another check. And since they're all paid off, let's say you have a 50% expense ratio, which is high, right? That's a $10,000 gross. And then you pay all your expenses, property tax, maintenance, insurance, property management. You're left with $5,000 a month in actual cash flow because you've already taken care of your maintenance, your equity, and all that stuff. And that's four properties. I know guys with like 20, 30 doors who are negative cash flow just because of their debt position. But with four paid off properties, just 250 grand, which isn't even that much. Like you can be one, a millionaire, two, cash flowing 5,000 bucks a month and have the time and freedom to work on other things. And if you want to lever up again, you can. You can take a second mortgage out on one property again, put some debt on it, go do a flip, put some debt on it, go buy an apartment building. I love that strategy for real estate investing. And sometimes I need to stop myself and be, hey, do I want to scale? Do I want to, be these massive apartments? Do I want to own like 50 doors? Man, if you own 10 doors free and clear that pay $2,000 a month, that's $20,000 gross at a 50% expense ratio. That's $10,000 a month in free cash flow coming into your business. I'm saying I know you can grow and I know there's people who want to do bigger and better things than that. For me, $10,000 a month and lets me do whatever I want. That's a nice place I'd like to get to in my business.
Yeah, and I think like this is something you gotta realize when you're doing it, right? It's
Yeah.
not about numbers. It's not about like how many properties you have, but more like the details is in no, the devil is in the detail. Other way
Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
The devil is in the details, and I guess like when you started out, you didn't really know, right? So like thinking back, you would have buy less
Oh yeah.
actually.
Oh, buddy. Oh, I would have bought way less. I would have bought like I'm probably 3 or 4 deals more than I probably would have wanted at this point. I would have if I could, do everything again. Hindsight's 2020. I probably would have bought three less deals and put more effort into building that business, whether it was a fix and flip business. Maybe you buy like a boring business, a laundromat, something like that. Put my money into there, a wholesaling business, or something like that. I would have really focused on building that cash flowing asset because it's great. I have a real estate portfolio. There's lots of money and equity on paper, but that equity needs to be transferred into cash flow for you to live your life. Like I know so many real estate investors that are
Yeah,
rich on paper, but
on
are still
paper,
driving the beat up Honda
but they can't
Civic.
really retire, right?
They can't retire, right? They gotta wait so long for it to happen. So there are other ways to grow. But again, if you have a great job, the thing is, I don't love my job. If I loved my job, I think it would
Yeah.
be easier. If you loved your job, then yeah, buy rentals, let that chill on the sideline and do your thing. But for me, I'd like to exit my job and to do something more that I enjoy.
Yeah, I think it depends a lot on what the financial situation the person is in, right?
Yeah,
And whether they like their job and also like the goal.
yeah,
Like some people they want to live abroad, right? They want to like travel, and some people like love the States, love Canada. They just want to stay there and grew a family right there,
yeah.
right? So I guess the strategy you end up doing depends on not on your situation in the end. So like the journey gonna be so much different from person to person. That's a interesting thing. Like for me to talk about it.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's something that, you need to so when you start, I feel there's two camps. Some people are like, oh, I want to focus 50 years out before I do anything. And then they get caught analysis paralysis. They don't do anything. Then there's guys closer to me who are just like, go, 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 go. We'll figure out as we go. And then you look back and you're like, oh, I built something nice, but it's not exactly what I wanted. Now, you're making fine tuning elements to like, hey, how can I turn this business into something that I actually want in life, not something that looks good on paper or that I can tout at the next meetup as being this nice, sexy business. So those are the things I'm looking for in into my business right now.
Makes sense. And like, do you think like for it to figure it out, like for you, is it only possible to figure it out on the way, or you can actually like before you start out, think about where you want to go, how it should look like, what strategy you want to put into, and like don't like and like don't really need to like twitch and switch and then find the right model.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think there's, in my opinion, I like to get to work. Like let's get to work. Let's cut all the chatter. We can talk on the way up. So get moving, get started, get going. Once you have a couple things, you'll know what you like because sometimes
Mm-hmm.
like you sit there, you make all these plans, like I'm a big Christian guy, so like the saying is man plans and God laughs. Like you can make all these plans, but at the end of the day, you're gonna get what's coming to you. So I would just say get moving as the things go. You make the best decisions with the information that you have in front of you. Like when I was going through, the best thing I could have done my first deal is buy that pre-con. I was working at the pool. I wasn't even full time. Like I wasn't going to qualify for a property. So at the time, that was a great option. And maybe the next deal, that was probably a great option. But now where I'm sitting right now, buying another single family home maybe doesn't make that much sense for what I want to do. Maybe it is looking into some, 4, 5, 6 units or getting into some of that more active stuff like flipping and wholesaling. Like I just got a flip under contract on Monday and getting that all financed up and getting ready to take that down early in the new year. So those are the things that I'm doing in my business now. Not saying I shouldn't have done it before, but again, you just got to make the best decisions with like what you have in front of you and continue to go forward.
And like okay, like just want to get to work and like plan out the things where you are doing it already. Is it like natural to you? Is it maybe like coming from your religion, or like is it something you got to learn? Like I don't know, where did you actually like learn a skill set? Because many people they learn about something, they think about it, then they think about it, then they think about it, and then it never gets started. Whether it's business, real estate, is I don't know,
No, this is great, man.
right?
So I similar
But
problem
you,
to So I've never really needed help getting started. Like just like my mindset, like I come from an athletic background, like, I was always on the go. Like, between that athletic school and work, like I was always doing something and I was always pushing towards the next goal, making a new team, getting into the next school, getting that scholarship, being able to qualify for this, getting a degree, whatever it was. But what I say is you got to start moving and only seek out the education that helps you what you're stuck. Because some people read all these books and do all this stuff, but they actually don't have a problem yet. Like I would say, go buy a property. And if you don't know how to buy a property, get education just for that. Learn exactly how to buy a property. Once you know how to do that, stop learning, stop reading, and go take action on that exact thing that you learned about. Because if you take all this education, you get all this information, short-term rental, Airbnb, flips, buy and hold renter, BRRRR strategy. That's great. But you don't actually have a problem. You haven't done anything yet. So go do a deal. Go try and do a deal. And maybe you get stuck. Maybe you try and do a BRRRR and you find out, hey, man, I can't get any financing. Then you take the second and you learn about how do I get private financing for a BRRRR project. And you learn about that, get really good on that. Once you know, then you take action on that. For myself, like things that I'm working on in my business, getting a lot better in material selection and planning scopes of work. So for me right now, I'm doing a little bit more construction education because that's actually a pain point in my business. Like I'm no longer sitting there learning like, oh, what's loan to value or how do I get a mortgage? Because I'm a little past that. But every roadblock you get to, take education on the specific roadblock, take action on the specific roadblock, and then keep moving. Sometimes it might be 6 to 8 months before you need like re-education because things are going well. Keep your foot on the gas and keep going. But as soon as you get to that spot where like, hey, I'm not moving, I'm stuck, I can't find the answers, go search out that education, go search out that mentor and get that information that you need. And then right back on the horse, go take action again.
Nice. I love the answer, and it's very in depth and very thought out. But let me ask you this, because when I was listening to your response, right, I can tell there's a lot of confidence and self-belief in you, right? So that let's say you want to do something, you do it, and until you have a problem, right, you continue going down that path,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And like, it might happen like you never run into a problem, right? And maybe like something you thought of might be a problem, it never happened, right? So like it's like so my question here is to go back, is the self-belief and confidence natural to you, or like where do you have that?
I'd probably say it's a little bit more on the natural side. Like I've never had a confidence problem. In school, like I was always an outgoing guy. Like, I'll chat up anyone.
Nice.
I'll always put myself forward. And even like in jobs, like jobs, like I've never been like afraid to try anything. Like I'll try. Like, I might not be good. I'll just try it. Like, what's the worst that's gonna happen? And I think because I used to be a police officer, so at that time when I was a police officer, I saw life and death stuff, like, saw people die, saw bodies, all that good stuff. So I now know what is like the life and death threshold. Like I've actually seen it, I've been to it, I've touched it, I've smelt it, I've been there. So when things are not life and death, I'm like, it's whatever, like it's okay. And I think some people, they think the stakes are so high. They're like, oh, but what if this? I'm like, no one's dying.
Bankruptcy, whatever, right?
No one's gonna die. Like we're
Yeah.
oh, okay. You lost a little bit of money. Okay, great. You know what? We can make money again. I'm sure there's a deal that happens. Oh, you didn't get your refinance as fast as you wanted. Nobody's dead. We're all alive. It's just gonna take some more time. Oh, like whatever the business situation or personal problem is, I'm like, listen, if nobody's dying, that's a win for me. Let's figure out a way to solve it. But I think because I know that and because that's part of my background, I'm able to take action a little bit quicker than maybe the average person just because I'm like, well, listen, nobody's going to die in this situation. The worst thing's going to happen is a tenant might be a little bit mad. I might go a little bit over budget on this, or I'm going to have to work a couple extra hours, which again, not things that I want to happen, but I just know worst case scenario is like a first world problem. It's not like a life or death, hunger, homeless. I'm going to be stranded on a beach by myself for years on end. Like that's not the case. And I think with that knowledge, we can act faster, and without action you're not going to get those returns. So you can sit on the sideline hoping something's good going to happen for you, or you can get out there and go make it happen.
I love the response because like your bottom line, right? Everything was not life or death, right? It's fine. You can figure it out, right? It might be not what you want, but everything happens for a reason. And I guess the police job you had before actually benefit you like so much into
Yeah.
like what you're doing right now.
I honestly, I really think so because even at my ambulance job now, like when I'm on the phones, I got guys at work like they're so stressed and like they're all worked up and everything, and I'm like, guys, nobody's dying. Like even when they're calling, like the things they're calling about, I'm like, nobody's dying in this situation, or they're crying about, oh, we didn't get a raise, oh, this didn't happen. I said, listen, nobody's dying. My family is in good health. My friends are in good spirits. Like these are the things in my life that are important to me. Yes, real estate's great, but it's just a tool to increase your life for yourself and your family. Like my goal is to be able to put my family in a position where, work is optional for everyone and they can go out and do the things they actually enjoy or bring value to the world in a way that they see fit, right? So I'm hoping that people, at least from this conversation, take away if it's not a life or death situation, like literally life
With that.
or death, we can figure out a way to solve whatever issue it is and continue to move forward, but don't let that be the reason you don't take action.
Yeah, I think this is like definitely my biggest takeaway. If it's not a life or death situation, you can figure it out,
We can
right?
figure it out,
Like,
man. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess like okay, and your goal to take care of your family so that they can do whatever they want, has it been the goal like all the time, or it changed like when you were like in the you started 2017, right? In a
Yeah.
7 year doing real estate.
Yeah. So I've always wanted to be in a position where like I could take care of my family no matter what. Like, and especially because of the
You have a wife
ambulance.
and kids.
Sorry?
Do you have a spouse and kids?
No wife, no kids. But one day, I hope I'm gonna trick a girl. I promise. Like, 2025, I'm gonna trick a girl into marrying me. You watch. So that's my goal. It's on my vision board. Even with
Really?
that, so whenever that comes, and even if it doesn't come again, it's not a life or death situation. Like my actual
No.
immediate family is still there, and I'd love to be able to support them, whatever they do. But I just know I'm like, listen, I don't want to rely on the government or other agencies or other factors to really take care of my family, especially when God put me in a position where I'm able to work. I'm able to, put the extra time in now when I'm a little bit younger. So we can go for it. And then, when I'm in a position that they can't work or, they need the support, I'm the one they can turn to. I always say I'm willing to do the extra work so someone else doesn't have to do the extra work someday. And some people might call that cynical, selfish, whatever it is. Hey, go on with your business, Dad. My thing is, I know I have the ability. I know I can continue to work, so I'm going to do so until it's no longer feasible for me to do it.
Nice. So like what else is on the agenda for like on your vision board for 2025 beside of tricking a girl into marriage?
Well, hopefully it's not like too trick. Hopefully she actually likes me, but we'll see where that goes. It's funny. So this is like more like a object or not sentimental thing. Like what's the word? Uh, like tangible thing. Like I've always wanted to have a truck. I owned a truck for a little bit when I was doing fix and flips locally where I lived.
Mhm.
But then, I ended up, doing stuff more far away where I wasn't involved. So I didn't need the truck and it was killing me on gas. So I sold it. But I'd really like to get a truck again. I just know from all the financial gurus and, all the millionaire next doors, it's like the car payment is like the number one wealth killer. So as much as I want it, I'm trying to put it at bay until I reach those financial milestones first, and then maybe make that as a nice surprise to myself once my business gets to a point where I want it to be. Then maybe you can add that truck in and make it a little bit nicer. Because hey, I've got it done with the Honda Civic this long. I think I can go a little bit longer.
What's like the goal you want to reach for your business where you feel like comfortable? I deserve a truck now.
Honestly, I don't think it'll ever be a part where like I deserve a truck. Because I'll
Okay.
always know people who are working 10 times harder than me. And for me, like I'll be like, oh, I don't know if I deserve. I think it comes from like a sports background. Like I know that there's always someone working harder than me. So to say those words like, oh, I deserve this, I deserve that, that's never been like a thought or a talk path
Hmm.
for me, especially
Okay.
in the athletic world. So
Hmm.
I think it's going to be either, my family, a significant other being like, hey, you've been talking about this for so long, like go out and like, get it done. I think it's going to be something outside, yeah, doing it for me because even when my business gets to that, let's say I get to 10K a month clean, I'm still probably going to be like, ooh, let me save it. Let me do something else. Let me try something else before I actually get the truck. So maybe it's just going to be like a carrot. I keep it out in front of me to keep me moving. And when I no longer have the energy to continue working, maybe that's when I'll scale down. buy the truck, and ride off to the sunset.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, man.
Isaiah, I had a amazing time today. Is there like any like last thing you want to share or for someone who want to get into real estate, want to get started?
Yeah. So if first thing, if you want to get into real estate, and I wish I would have done this, literally go house hack. If you are under 25, go find the most expensive fourplex.
Okay.
You can get one, two, three, or four, but in my opinion, the bigger house, the better. Go get the most expensive fourplex you can, rent out the 3 units, and then the unit that you live in, rent out the bedrooms. Cash flow like crazy. You're only going to be in it for 5% down. If you're in the States, 3.5 to 5% down, and
Mhm.
use that as the ultimate way to build wealth. If I would have bought a fourplex every year, or even a duplex every year from like 22 to 25, bro, I'd be done. I'd be done. Like there's so many, and if you do it and do like a value add strategy, like you buy it, you fix it up, clean it up,
Yeah.
and the value add, you can do that as well. But honestly, just buying it itself and running it and managing it is more than enough. That is the best way to get in. From there, you will have so many options, whether you want to explore fix and flipping, wholesaling, more buy and hold rentals, short term, Airbnb, apartment buildings. Having that ability to take your living expenses to almost zero and build wealth in your younger years, that's a game changer right there. That's the game changer.
Special giveaway if you're under 25.
Yeah, 100%. That's what you got to do.
Yeah.
Like, don't even ask me anything else. Go find a fourplex, go buy it, and then we'll talk.
Nice.
Yeah.
I I guess the problem, what I see it holistically, and I'm interested like to see your perspective. Most people get into real estate like later,
Yeah.
right? Like they miss on that.
Nah, get into it. Like, get into it now.
Yeah.
And no disrespect. And this is what Alex Hormozy says. You know, some
Mhm.
people will come to me. He's like, "Oh, I can't do it. Like, I don't have the funds, or I don't have the job." And he's like, I love the way he tackles it. He does more business than like real estate specific.
Yeah.
But someone will come to him and he'll be like, "You know what? You're right. You'll never do it. You're gonna be poor forever. You're gonna die in a hole. Everything's a loss. Like, it's all our fault. It's not your fault." You can have that perspective, or you can look at all the people before you and all the people after you who have figured it out. You can pull up your socks and get a little bit creative and scrappy and go figure out a way to get it done. Because if someone has done it before, that means you can do it too. So yes, it might take a little bit of work. You might need a little bit of education and help, but you can get it done. And if you know that's one of the easiest ways to build significant wealth, I don't know why you wouldn't jump on that if real estate's the business you want to get into. Again, you can do other businesses if that's what you're into, but me, I know real estate, so I can talk real estate. Go buy that fourplex, please. I'll be so happy you did.
Awesome. And like, okay, how can people follow you if they wanna have more content?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm all over social. So I'm on Instagram at it's Mr. Henry, ITS Mr. Henry. We're trying to post at least once a day over there. You can find us on YouTube as well. I also have a new product coming out it's already out actually for landlords. It's called Utility Hub. So what it is, it puts if you're in a property, multifamily property, duplex, all the way up to six, that has, there's more rental units than utility meters. We have a way to put that responsibility of the utility payments back on the tenants without, getting a new meter, splitting the meter. We can do it all virtually. It's a really nice system there, and we're offering a little bit of a discount. So go check out rentalutilityhub.com, or go check us out on Instagram, or just DM me, and I'd be happy to streamline your utility payments for you.
Nice. I will make sure to post all of your socials on the description of the video.
Yeah, that'd be great, man. Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I really appreciated
Of
the
course.
conversation. This has been great.
Okay.